Today, we're gonna be wrapping this front fender, which is textured plastic. The tricky part with this is getting the material to stick and adhere to this type of surface. If we go here, straight down the middle, you're gonna see like this section is totally fine. It causes the material to not stick very well, so that's an issue. Okay, so our focus point, like this will go down on the top, no problem, but we're stuck right here. Actually have to stretch this material sort of on an angle like this, so watch. So we're gonna take that, pull, and our focus point is right here. So I'm gonna let go of the material, and I want to see that the material is naturally wrapping down to this edge right here. So we have bunching right there. It's still not tight enough. It's not good enough. A lot of Jeeps have this, and a lot of trucks and other vehicles have this type of plastic. I'm gonna be wrapping this in Vivid Color Fusion Satin Chrome. So far it's going down great. So I have a piece here. I'm gonna show you how it sticks to it. It's very curved, meaning like right here and right here, these are our problem areas. Now, do I recommend doing this in one piece? If you can't maintain the finish and you can't maintain the fact that there's no tension at the edges, then I don't recommend doing this in one piece. But I would definitely put an inlay in here first if this was like a white car and I was wrapping it, or white fender and I was wrapping it red or whatever, because some of them are paint matched. The other option here for a seam is right along this body line right here. So I would do this skinny piece first, and then I would do the top piece afterwards, and then the edge would face down. So you wouldn't really see it so much, plus the body line would help hide it. Let's put this piece on and show you how well it does not adhere, or how poorly it adheres to the surface. I'll squeegee it right down. And so let's grab an edge, and that took zero effort at all. This is all about technique and alleviating tension and where you're placing your tension. Very important. Let's get into placing the material on top first. I'll move the camera around so you can see and get good angle on how this is. I will trim some off as soon as I get this just sort of sitting where I want it. So like right there at the front. And I only want to have a few inches, a couple of inches past the edge. I don't want to have too much. And then let's just kind of form it into its place here, and then see how much extra we have here. There's the bottom. Okay, so we have lots. So we're going to trim this off. The other side's already done. I did the other side first, just for a little refresher. Now I'm going to bring this piece a bit more towards the camera, towards you guys. And then let's slide that back again. Cool. I can adhere the material to the light. So then I can peel the liner off this way. Because again, the material barely sticks at all to the textured plastic. But again, this is all about how you do this, okay? There's nothing more to it than how you stretch and pull the material. I'm just gonna give this a bit of a pre-stretch, nothing fancy. Just a bit this way, okay? Just to kind of get it into place. And I'm gonna pull out, always pull your fingers the opposite direction. I'm gonna have a center point right here. This will go down pretty much really nicely, as you can see right there. So this section is pretty good. You want it maybe a little bit warmer, it's up to you, but I prefer to work when it's a little bit cooler out, because you don't sweat as much, and it causes the material to not stick very well, so that's an issue. Okay, so our focus point, like if we go here, straight down the middle, you're gonna see like this section is totally fine. This will go down on the top, no problem, but we're stuck right here. Actually have to stretch this material sort of on an angle like this, so watch. So we're gonna take that, pull, and our focus point is right here. So I'm gonna let go of the material, and I want to see that the material is naturally wrapping down to this edge right here. So we have bunching right there. It's still not tight enough. It's not good enough. I have to pull it harder. Now I'm gonna trim some of this away because it's causing me to put my hands in the wrong place, which means that my hands are too far away from where I'm pulling. If I pull the material past the edge, it's gonna pull back. So I wanna pull the material to the edge. So I'm gonna get a good grip, get a hold on pretty tight with this, get in there, and then try again and sort of land at the edge there. So look at that. That's what we're focused on right now. That's beautiful. I'm just gonna lock that in a little bit, as much as it'll lock in, but we're gonna alleviate tension now. So watch this. We wanna make sure, look, zero tension at that edge there, because I did not stretch past it. What we're gonna do on this side is we're gonna stretch to this corner right here. Even before that, let's take this and flatten out some of these on the top here, just because it's gonna make it a little bit easier. So far, so good. And again, I don't think I used heat on the other side as well. We're just gonna lock this stuff in, because it'll hold a little bit. It's just not great. But we're gonna stretch right over to this corner right here. Okay, so, and then we're gonna kind of hook it in right around that corner. So what are these fingers doing right now? Well, they're showing me that I need to pull them the opposite direction, which is totally cool. So let's bring them down this way. And then when I bring them down this way, what happens is the material, as long as I can hold it in place, will naturally suction itself. You can see it suctioning itself right underneath the edge. This is the key to getting this done successfully. Okay, we're gonna do a relief cut here. So again, I'm gonna kind of stretch that out to the corner there, just a little bit, and we're good to go. When I finish this, there will be zero tension. There's zero tension here right now. The tension, well, it's not zero. The tension pulls across the edge. So there is tension. It just doesn't pull away from the edge. It pulls along the edge, which is critical. Let's move to the back section. So this section is basically set up. We're gonna do more on this, but we're gonna get the wrap around the panel before we get into all the rest of this stuff. I'm gonna trim a bunch of this away. So all this extra material down here is just added resistance. So trim some away. It's going to make the film more pliable for you, especially around this critical area right here, which is the hardest part. Okay, so it's, again, you see how oversized this piece is. I'm gonna work with it, and then my silly ditch lights or whatever you wanna call them. So I think we can do this without the heat gun. I think I did it on the other side without it. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that in place. I'll even wrap it around the inside a little bit. There we go, because it'll hold better. And then we're gonna take this and anchor and stick it the best we can right there. I'm still gonna wanna pull back a little bit. I'm not even worried about it. Okay, we have this big ugly finger right here in the middle. We're gonna get rid of that by either you can go from this side and pull it out, or this side. I'm gonna go this side. So just lift up the inside piece and then pull that finger out and squeegee. So we are looking pretty good right now. Okay, so we're gonna take these, lift them up, and sort of like almost let them drop down. See that? And the material is going down to the edge all by itself. So again, our tension runs along the edge or across the edge. Now the rest of this is actually quite easy because we don't actually have to stretch much more pulling downwards. Try not to crumple your material up too much. It can cause blemishes. I mean, I haven't noticed this material being that fragile, but it can happen. And the fingers are fine. Just try not to crease it. Fingers are very common. Okay, so I'm gonna pull out these fingers right here. Cool. And then that's gonna allow the material to suction itself down on the inside edge a bit more. Just way too much material. I only needed a 17-inch wide piece roughly. This was like 20, 22. But again, we have to make sure that by the time we get to the bottom here, that we don't have any more tension. I've done these fenders in everything. Hexas chrome, I've done it in so many different materials, and I've never really had any issues with them at all. The biggest issue I had was the last time, and that was my first time wrapping in PPF? I don't remember. But either way, that's just sort of my fault where we're sort of lifting at the front there very, very little. I wasn't even worried about it. Okay, so down here on the bottom, I have zero tension. Look at that. There's nothing pulling back. All the tension is on the inside area. There's zero tension from like here down. There's next to zero. Okay, so we're gonna pull out some of these fingers right here, again, the opposite direction. And because they run with the edge, it causes the material to wrap itself down and around the edge. It's not easy, I would say. Like, if you don't pull hard enough, you don't get enough stretch, this is not gonna be easy for you. This is more advanced. Like, if you're really struggling with this, I highly recommend doing the inlay. We're good all the way to the bottom, actually. I'm gonna heat up this last little section here just to kind of get it to form around. I'm gonna massage it. And then we're gonna get into cutting and trimming and just getting it pre-tucked a little bit. Gotta finish that up, get it around a bit more. This is not an easy piece to wrap, even when it's paint matched. Not in one piece like this. So don't be so hard on yourself when you're doing it. Give yourself some grace. The heat is gonna cause this material to sort of just bond better and stick and relax and all the rest of the stuff. It's sort of giving it like a bit of a post heat. Okay, so I really wanna define that edge. I wanna know where I'm cutting. Very, 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 very important. It's a very tight gap, so I wanna be able to see where I'm cutting. Before I dull my blade cutting in this gap, we're gonna trim out the inside section. You could try putting knifeless tape on this stuff. You can use it or you can try to use it, but it doesn't stay very well at all. So we're gonna come in there, and this is just textured plastic, it's not paint. If these were paint matched, I would definitely be using knifeless tape. I'm gonna be using knifeless tape on the back ones because it has a textured plastic, a smooth plastic, and the knifeless tape actually sticks. There we go. So you can see that I didn't even cut through totally. You can see it's sort of lifting the material up. That's okay. When you heat that and push it back down, it's gonna go down. Watch this. Even probably just when I heat it, it's already going down by itself, just in room temperature, okay? Because I did not stretch this way. The material, I didn't stretch towards the fender. I stretched along, or actually I didn't even really stretch it much this way at all, from here to here, but it'll just relax itself and go right around. Don't mind, got a couple of creases up there. You guys should probably notice it. Someone might call me out for that. That's okay. And this is an unpainted grill, actually. Oops, creased it inside. I mean, I was gonna see it, but let's just fix it anyways, because that will bother me. So hold that a little bit tighter and get it down there a bit, you know, like I don't need it to be bang on 100% perfect. It just can be around the edge a bit, and it will give the illusion that the entire thing is wrapped, because no one's gonna know, because black goes with everything. So again, this is where you basically put knifeless tape. But if you're doing a full color change, like on a paint matched one, you have to wrap around further, okay? So you have to wrap around right into the edge, which makes this fender trickier to do in that case, because it's just so much harder to get that last inch or so with the actual fender behind the fender flare, which will be in the way. Okay, so that's what the inside edge is gonna look like. That's what it looks like on the other side. I'm gonna hit that with some heat, get it pushed down, make sure it's nice and tight, especially like that little spot right there. You can probably see it. Now, I did stretch a little bit that way, but it'll be fine. We are intentionally doing a partial 90% coverage here of this fender. Okay, so I need to do a little cut and fold. You'll see that more here. I need to do one here, cut a little slit there at the corner. I'm gonna do the same thing down here, but I wanna get this down and around here just a bit more first on the inside. About what I got on the other side, about 1/2 inch, not even. Okay, so something like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this, cut off the excess here. Okay, so we're gonna do a cut and fold right there, and you can see how much I've left around the inside. It's not a lot. It's enough to, again, give the illusion of the flare being covered. And you know, if it was a customer's car, I would just tell them, like, what do you want to do? Like, here's a price for this way, here's a price for that way. You can give people options. Okay, so I'm gonna snap a blade off because this is a tricky cut. To not cut on the surface, we want to cut in the bubble right here. And I'm not going to get full coverage in here either. Again, who cares? It's just black. This is how I've always done it. And I've never seen anyone, or no one's ever pointed it out to me that they noticed. I'm sure people have, but again, as long as it doesn't look bad, then who really cares? So you can see that I'm trying to keep the material tight. Am I out of your way? Yeah, I'm pretty much out of your way. As I cut, because that gives you a much cleaner cut. Okay, and then same thing here. Let's finish up this a bit. I have too much. And then cut that straight as possible. It's tricky because it's the last piece. There we go. Okay, so this is a cut and fold. I'm gonna take my cut and fold, I'm gonna pull it tight and push at the corner and bring it around. And I will trim off the excess overlap that you see there, okay? So I'm not leaving it like that. But to get no wrinkle or finger there, you wanna sort of push down on the corner and pull the material tightly around. Don't stretch it too much. I'll heat that before I cut it. We're gonna heat in here as well before we do anything else too. And push this down in the corners, and then finish that up, and then finish that up. Okay, so I can make that straighter by freehand trimming on that. I'll probably just do that later. Don't really care right now. Let's heat the overlap, and then we'll trim the overlap off when the material cools. We can start getting into here. So on the front here, we're basically good to go, but I just saw a bit of a bubble at the edge there, so I wanna make sure that the material is snug and tight around the edge. I could have masked off the light, okay? So the material sticking to the light, it's give or take, you know, like you're gonna have, like, see how I tore that very easily because the material's too hot. Like it allowed me to anchor it to the light when I wanted to pull the liner off, but now, you know, it's sticking to the light and I'm trying to make sure that I have no tension at the edge. So I have to lift off the light and make sure that I'm getting the material around that edge without tension where it sticks to the light. Again, you do not want that. I'm just gonna come around here for a second. Okay. Okay, so before I go too nuts, I'm just gonna, we can trim here, I guess. So let's go here. Yeah, we can do the bottom trim. Zero tension to this edge, which is phenomenal. I'm just gonna add a bit more heat to it. All right. So I might be in your way for a second, or I'll just move the camera this side so you can see that. Again, we have this overlap to trim off still. I'm gonna need a new blades in a moment. This is my last click, so I will have to refill that. We need a very sharp blade when we're cutting PPF. As soon as it dulls, it starts cutting really poorly. Okay, so I'm just cutting on the underside edge of this section right here. And now that you're probably there, you probably noticed even some areas of my grill that I didn't cover fully because I just did it as fast as possible. So I'm glad it's not paint matched. I'm glad it's just black. It allows me to cheat and get away with things that you normally couldn't do with a paint matched car, but you just take your time with it more when it's paint matched. It would have taken me an extra, 30 minutes to do it perfectly. Okay, so that piece is good to go. We're gonna get in there, heat it again afterwards. Always super important. It's the most critical thing. I don't want it to lift at the front here like it did last time. I don't see it moving, so we should be good to go. Okay, and then while we're here, let's just trim off that bit of overlap. That doesn't look so pretty. Okay, don't push too hard because you want to push through both layers. But it's PPF over PPF right now. And then same thing with this little bit on the inside, this side. You won't be able to see it. It's okay. Okay. So that's good to go. Don't even need to heat that again. That's fine. Just gonna remove some of this garbage. And now let's do the outside cut. So around the perimeter of this edge right here. So the goal here is obviously to have this as tight to the edge as possible. Now this edge is too tight technically to really tuck in anything into. And I've never tucked anything into here, and I've basically never had failure either. So we just want to lift off of the bottom trim and make sure we're getting a bit of a pre-tuck in this area here, okay? Okay, so now that looks a lot cleaner. There's no bubble, and we should be able to cut. So I'm not going to cut here yet because I can see a bubble there. I'm going to start where it looks the cleanest, which is right about here. And then there's little stones and stuff in there. It's annoying. I try to clean it out the best I can, but do what you can. It's actually pretty good. It's better than the other ones so far. I purposely took a bit more time to clean this little crack out of here because I wanted it to be better for the video. But yeah, you can hear the stones. There's some in there still. Okay. Okay, I'm just holding the material there. Just, I don't know, it's habit. Probably didn't really need to. Come right around the bottom here, and it's the same thing coming around the bottom here. The gap gets tighter and looser as you go along and so forth. So just go with the flow. Okay, and then I'm going to start over here, come back this way because I can't go towards the door anymore because the fender, because it's going to block me. Okay, so super clean. We have to hit that with heat still. We're not done yet, but let's do. Now that we've trimmed a lot of that, what I can do here is just take this. Okay, get rid of that. Now, what I can do here is it's easier to sort of manipulate or handle this piece now that it's not all connected. Just be careful because you can see that I'm lifting up the area that I just cut over here, but we'll be fine. Again, it's just, even if this was paint matched, this is how I would do it. So, because I'm going to have my edge will be covered. I have my material pre-tucked and we'll be good to go. So my blade's getting pretty dull, but it's still cutting, so we're good. Some stones there. And then take your time, come right out the bottom. Cool. All right, let's hit that with heat because we hit everything else with heat, so we just have to hit that last edge with heat. And that'll be it. So let's go over that. Pretty warm. It's not so much the plastic edge is not perfect on this thing, which kind of sucks, whatever. So it does show that it's not super consistent. The back ones I find are worse. This heat is not really doing a whole lot right now. I'm just adding the heat for safe measure. Because it's always a good idea to heat, cut, heat. Okay. And I will take you over the top of this thing and through it. And then that'll be it really for the video. All right, so there we go. We've formed our PPF all the way around a very compound curve. Inside, a bit enough, at least for the black. And then on the outside edge, more importantly, to get it down to where the trim piece meets it, because that looks the nicest. That's how you want it. You don't want that to be short. But it looks really good, and we're happy with that. So the next one, it's already prepped. Mostly, I'm just going to wipe it off quickly. I have my piece cut. We're going to do that next, and then we'll get onto the mirror, hopefully. Let's see. The mirror's hard. It's very similar. It's textured plastic just like the front fender. All right, and let's wrap this up. So, guys, I hope this video, again, was informative, helpful, and detailed. If you like the video, don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like the videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching as always. I appreciate it. Take care.